and I'm not sure that I feel that way with you, because I don't think that I mean, you know, you just keep acting like you're getting done wrong and hadn't anything happened to you that's been wrong.
No, everything you done is supposed to be done for a reason. I understand that.
Well,
Can you put me on a bracelet, an ankle monitor, like one of these other guys here, or whoever, just put it where that I can't go out of the yard. I won't leave the yard. I won't go nowhere.
how you gonna work?
I can't even drive. I gotta have somebody drive me. Can you put me on a monitor where they can take me to work and from work? I'll have the Amish come do it. I mean, Judge, I got to be able to make a living, but in order to do that, Your Honor, I couldn't fix your car, Judge, and let you drive off in it without me knowing that it's gonna be right. I would drive it. I can't lie to you. I couldn't lie to nobody, not Mr. Richardson, nobody. I could not fix your vehicle and let you drive it without me driving it first to know that it's gonna do what it's supposed to do. That's what I told my probation patrol officer. That is my job. That's how I work on them. I can't let you drive it unless I drive it. If I drive it and say, Your Honor, it's good to go, then I know it's good.
Well, but you understand that you can't drive it.
I promise you, I will not drive another one. I'll if you can get me on the monitor, I can go home and fix them right there in the driveway at the house and call them, let them come and get them. That's the only thing I know to do. I don't leave. I'm not going to leave Barron County anymore. My home is right there now. I got a 30-foot camper that I bought for me and my wife as she passed away, and that's not even a crutch, you know. I drove it because the second time I got caught, because you had to take her to the hospital. She can't drive. If she's septic, man, she passed away. You know that. But I'm not. I'm glad that they let me call her to jail, talk to her while I could. But I will get put on a monitor. I won't even leave the house. I don't have to go nowhere except in my front yard. All the vehicles is there. My address is 2880 Carl Hill Road. I live in a 30-foot camper. The roof on it's leaking right now. Mama told me last night when I called her. But I got stuff to fix it, but I can't get out there to fix it. I don't want my home to leak and run water in it.
All right.
And my Zoom meetings, if the court comes back up where I have to be in court, I'll make them come take me.
Now, you'll have to come back to court, but it's not gonna, by the time you come back, it ain't gonna be Zoom.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I'll have to have somebody take me to court and I'll make them take me and bring me home. I know I can't drive.
Listen, here's the thing. And this is what I was trying to tell you a month ago when you went off on me. And that is that I understand it's hard for you to get by. I mean, I understand what you do and what you try to do. It's hard to get by without driving, but I don't make those laws. And the police don't make the laws. They just enforce the laws. And then, you know, you come in front of a court and they got to do something about it.
I understand that.
And if you don't have a driver's license, you can't drive. And you're not entitled to drive. You don't have the right to drive, any of that stuff. You just can't do it.
I understand, Judge.
And if your probation officer tells you something, that's the same thing as a court telling you something, because you're on probation.
I understand.
All right. So, you know, I mean, I've known you an awful long time and you've been in court with me too much. And that's why you feel so comfortable talking to me when you ought to be acting like, you know, you're in a court of law and not just carrying on like you are. Okay.
I said, whatever judgment you make, I mean, that's what I brought to myself. But I mean,
well, I don't disagree with you, but you know, your mouth is saying it, but the rest of you needs to be saying it too with what you do and the way you act. All right. So here we go. This is what's going to happen. You've been, I don't know how long you've been in jail, but I think that it would be fair. Man, I don't normally, your attorney pointed out, and he's right, that, you know, except in certain rare situations, you know, it's not normal for me or for any court to revoke your probation on the basis of just a charge. I don't even think you've been indicted yet. So that's, you know, while I believe that there was credibility to that deputy's testimony, you know, that's not something that normally I would put on, do a revocation at this stage of the proceedings. However, if you got convicted of it, it would be different. All right. So I'm not gonna permanently decide that you won't get revoked on the basis of that new case, because we'll have to see how it turns out and whether there's a conviction out of it. But in the meantime, what we're talking about now is I'm giving you a sanction for 45 days retroactive to your arrest date. I'm putting you back on probation under Officer Hogan. I'm just telling you, it's a zero tolerance on this driving and any other kind of traffic stuff, because I mean, we've talked about it till we're all blue in the face. There's no driving.
It won't happen again, I promise you. I'll show you.
All right, there's no driving. And what I want you to do is get your attitude straightened out. And, you know, when you're in there talking to Officer Hogan, you're yes sir and him and no sir and him, because he's speaking for the court when he's telling you, I mean, you have to follow probation rules. So if he gives you a rule, that's your rule, okay?
Yes, sir.
With-
So how many days do I gotta do that?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you got arrested on March 5th, I think, is what they're telling me. So 45 days from then, which is probably about this time next
5 more
week,
days?
which is probably this
Thank
time
you,
next
Judge.
week, thereabouts. All right. On your manufacturing case, which is 20 CR 304, we need to set a pretrial conference because we need to get back on the path in that case. And that, so, well, hold on. Looks like he's got a pretrial conference already on the docket for June the 14th. So Greg, if that's your case, I'll just leave that on for June the 14th.
Okay, Judge. I don't have that date written down, June 14th. Okay.
Yep. Because he was set to be there before all this happened. He was set to be there I think in March, and they were passing everything like 3 months at that point.
Okay.
So Danny, when you get out, you report to your probation officer first thing, and then contact Mr. Barry so you can start talking to him about this other case.
I will. Thank you, sir.
If you have a court, I don't know if you have an upcoming court, you probably waived that other case to the grand jury, but I don't know. But you need to make sure that in Monroe County, they know how to get in touch with you, because if you get indicted, they don't need to think you're hiding.
No, as soon as I leave here, I'll go have my phone turned back on, because like I said, it was my wife's phone, and she was the only one. Bluegrass wouldn't even let me acknowledge to get the phone because of her passing away. So I've got to go to Warren County and get all that took care of too, about her disability. Because I don't want to get caught with that.
Listen, you need to be, you need to change the way you're looking at this thing, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Judge, may I be?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
What'd you say? June 14th.
Judge, can we release Deputy Smith too?
Yes, we can. Who would you all like to call?
Judge, I think Ken has two things with Miss Atkins. The first being Marquita Lessenberry. I have that one, and then Mike has Fabian Sebastian. I've talked to Ken with Marquita, and he has agreed to stipulate that there was a violation, that she was kicked out of treatment, and then we just, argue about what should happen.
Okay.
John, did you just call Lessenberry?
Yes, and I was telling him that you agreed to stipulate that there was a violation, that she was kicked out.
Yes.
of treatment.
Yeah, I got disconnected and I had to reconnect. Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. So, Mr. Garrett, there doesn't appear to be any factual dispute about whether she completed treatment, right?
Correct, Judge. We don't, we are not in a position to reasonably dispute that.
Okay. So,
And Your Honor,
yeah.
Ms. Atkins informs me, I guess, that Marquita's family has talked to Park Place, and that she can go back to treatment there and that bed's available on the 21st is my understanding.
Okay, but are you saying that that's not necessarily something that you agree to?
No, if that is true, I'm just getting this from, Julie, and she heard it from, I don't know exactly where she heard it from, maybe Marquita's family. She can
Workplace
chime in.
actually called me this morning,
Okay,
John.
that's right.
Oh, okay. So you
And so I
confirmed
just
that.
wanted to confirm that that's they would be willing to do that. If they are, then I'll agree to that.
Okay, can you live with that, Ken?
I can, Your Honor. Thank you, John.
So Marquita, here's the deal. All right. I mean, everybody understood what went on the first time. This last time, it seems a little bit like, something that I've already dealt with. I mean, it seemed like your attitude was in the wrong place. There isn't any reason in the world for you to not have completed rehab for the reason that I
Yes, sir.
was informed that you didn't complete it. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's silliness.
Well,
And especially when you're, for, whatever, for good or for ill, but I mean, it seems like there were other people that were taking their cue from you, so they were acting silly too. And that's disruptive, and that's not, I mean, if you don't want to do it, then just tell me you don't want to do it, and we won't waste everybody's time. But if you do want to do it, and they're willing to take you back, which it sounds like they are, then, we'll give it a shot.
I definitely want to do it, sir.
Okay. It looks like, I don't know if we have can you tell whether we have a court date? Because I would have thought maybe we did. From the last order that we did. We need a pretrial date.
There was none.
Gotcha. So, Mr. Garrett, we need to set this for a pretrial. What, you have any ideas?
I think it's set for April 26th, Judge.
Yeah, but I mean, is that going to do any, I mean, she's going to be going to
Oh,
treatment.
no, correct. Let's go to June, Judge, if the court's okay with that.
I am. Julie, will you send me some kind of, or send KP something to confirm the details so that we can do an order on that?
Sure, I'll do that.
Thank you. Correct. And if you happen to know what arrangements need to be made for it, I can't really remember what we've done and what we did in the past, but when she went the last time. All right, so let's set a pretrial conference for June. Let's do 21st.
That's fine, Judge.
All right. And then if something occurs that makes that infeasible, like she's still in treatment or whatever, just talk to the Commonwealth about it. We'll straighten it out. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So Ms. Lessenberry, we're going to try this one more time. These chances are not unlimited.
I know, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
What you want? All right. Are you all ready to do Mr. Sebastian?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Garrett, are you ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Is this
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Yeah, is this Mr. Richardson here?
Yes,
Doing
sir.
this? All right. Are
I
we
got
having
it.
a hearing?
We are. Ms. Atkins is my only witness.
Ms. Atkins, will you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm that your testimony will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir, I do.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Richardson.
All right, you state your name for the record.
Julie Atkins,
You work at the U-Turn office.
I do.
And were you monitoring the Fabian Sebastian as part of his pretrial monitoring?
I have been, he was referred on February 2nd for the random drug testing as a condition of his bond, I believe.
Okay, did you file a violation report dated March the 13th?
I did.
What was the basis of that?
On March the 11th, Mr. Sebastian, we called him in for a random screen. He tested positive for methamphetamine use, and he admitted his use after the test was completed.
Okay, that's all the questions I had, Judge.
All right. Mr. Garrett,
Judge, I have no questions.
all right. Ms. Atkins, thank you. Mr. Richardson, are you any additional proof?
That's all for the Commonwealth, Judge.
Mr. Garrett, are you putting on proof?
I am not, Judge. If the court wants to hear argument, I would like to make one brief statement.
Go ahead.
Judge, I would ask the court to consider permitting Mr. Sebastian to go to some sort of treatment. I do understand that the record is now replete with proof that he has used and would be a good candidate for some sort of treatment. So if the court decides to revoke his bond, I would ask the court to consider as a condition of getting another bond that maybe he can get some sort of treatment to get back out.
Mr. Richardson,
Judge has clearly violated his bond conditions and wanted to remind the court that, he had a bond and he was released. And this is a serious case. I mean, it's a Class B felony. He's basically caught red-handed selling drugs at Happy Valley Inn. He had a firearm in his possession along with drugs and cash. We feel that he's a danger to the community. And then when he's let out, he goes and he's using methamphetamine, which we can also draw the logical conclusion that if he's using it, he's in possession of it. And for all we know, could be still selling it. So I do believe he's still a danger to the community, and I'd ask that his bond get revoked.
well, this is that typical situation where, as Mr. The Commonwealth, of course, they see these all the time because this is just a common deal. But, the violation, which is pretty obvious, is the, at least in the same category as, if not quite as bad as what we're here for in the first place. It's not a minor violation, although it may feel that way to some people. That's the very essence of the bond condition. And here's my plan at this point, as I almost always do in situations like this. I think the appropriate thing is to grant the Commonwealth's motion. If there is some sort of treatment option that you all want to propose to me, that's fine. And I may consider it as a condition of reinstatement of bond if and when that time gets here. But Mr. Garrett, for now, I think on a Class B and Class D, 2 Class Ds and a Class B, all drug charges. And, shortly after you get out on bond, you're tested positive for one of the drugs you're accused of selling. I think it's an appropriate thing for the court to do, to consider that a violation of bond conditions and grant the motion, which is what's going to happen. I'm going to set this for a pre-trial conference. I want to, I know you're just kind of recently in the case, so I want to make it long enough that you have a chance to get up to speed. So if you want to suggest a day to me, I will listen, Mr. Garrett.
Judge, do you want to just go ahead and set it maybe for that June 21st date? And if we need an earlier date, I can get that.
Yeah, I can do that. That's 6/21, 1 o'clock.
Yes, Your Honor. And if we happen to get a proposal together for treatment, I can submit that to the Commonwealth and then to the court.
Yeah, I mean, you can always, bring something up like that if you need to prior to that date.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Judge, the last one I had was Joseph Slayton. That's Ms. Meyer's case. We were supposed to have a hearing to revoke his bond, but we have an agreement. We just don't have the paperwork. So I was going to ask to push this to Monday morning, and I will get them the paperwork. I was trying to get it to them today, but I didn't have time. I'll get it to her tomorrow, and try to get it worked out by Monday.
I can do that, Miss Myers, if that works for you.
That's correct.
All right. Mr. Slayton, I'll put you on Monday morning and I'll see you then.
Oh, okay.
All right.
See you both.
That's the 19th. 10 a.m. All right. Dickie Wilburn. All right. Who, this is on also for revocation hearing?
It is, Your Honor. I've spoken with Charity and Greg about this. Greg has indicated that Vicky would be willing to go back to treatment. I think Charity would agree for that as well in lieu of revocation. The issue is Vicky's grandmother. According to Charity, I guess she spoke with Vicky's mother, and that she is currently in TJ Simpson on hospice, in hospice care. And so I think Vicky would want some time to be with her. Obviously, the Commonwealth's not insensitive to that. I don't know how we can arrange that as far as time framed. I don't know if we're talking days, we're talking months, we're talking, that's what I'm just trying to figure out.
Officer Ford, what would we be talking about as availability for a place to go?
Well, DPA, they got her into treatment the last time at Kentucky Recovery. But to my knowledge, she has to be out 30 days before they can even apply for her to go back. And she left on the 22nd of March, which used to be the rules. But Bethany, she may know something different than I know.
You mean she has to be out of the treatment facility for 30 days before she goes back?
To another Kentucky Recovery.
Gotcha. So Mr. Berry, was the contemplation that she was going to go back to the same or a similar place to where she left?
That's the way I understood from talking with Vicky. She would, she wants to do the rehab. It just seemed like everything fell apart there at once. She got COVID herself and then ended up leaving to go be with her grandmother, and who is evidently in really bad shape. So it just seemed like everything fell, all the wheels came off at one time. But she does want to do the rehab. She just wants some time to visit with her grandmother.
Sure. I understand.
Real dark.
What if we, she'd have to be out 30 days before you even ask to go somewhere else. Is that right?
I think that's right, Judge. Now, it could have changed, but I think that's right.
So if that'll be like roughly next Wednesday or so before we can even get her on a list to go. But now that it'd probably turn around pretty quick once you got her on that list, if that was the case. I mean, what I'm trying to think about is just what Mr. Gardner's trying to think about, I think too, which is, how do we give her the opportunity to spend some time with her grandmother, but not just have that so open-ended that it's, it's kind of meaningless. It seems like to me that we would just be talking about a couple of weeks, and I think that I could probably have her just for that short of a duration, kind of reporting on a fairly more frequently than normal basis to the probation office to make sure that things are not going completely off the rails while we're waiting.
That was exactly what I think Vicky was hoping for in a couple of weeks to be with her.
That's an unusual thing for me to do because, we normally, everybody wants you to stay in custody till your bed date comes along. And of course, it's unusual for the Commonwealth to kind of approach it the way they are too, because normally they would be insistent on that. But I think everybody's wanting Ms. Wilburn to have a fair shake at this and, you know, to be motivated to complete it. You know, I'm afraid if we deprived her of this opportunity, it might impair her, you know, ability to complete it. So I don't know, Mr. Gardner, you heard what I said, I guess. How are you thinking? I mean, what if I did that and we found out how frequently she could report to charity, and if it was, you know, something pretty often? I mean, you know, every day'd probably be unrealistic, but
No, it wouldn't be unrealistic.
well, I'm talking about from her standpoint. I mean, every couple days or something, or just as directed by her,
And that's
charity, you know.
that's what you did for me last time. Whenever you let me out before my bed date, I reported to a charity, you know, like every other day.
Well, and see, I guess I screwed up there because I guess you got COVID while you were out.
No, she didn't have COVID before she went. She got a test or they wouldn't take her because they don't
yeah.
like to be out.
Okay, all right.
I got it at rehab.
Well,
Judge, to answer your question, I was thinking of something along the same lines as that. So yeah, I'm fine with it.
Thank
how
you.
about we do that? And what I'll do is just have her report to Officer Ford, I guess tomorrow.
Okay.
And then Officer Ford, what I would tell you, because I don't want to put you in a situation where, you know, I don't know what your schedule is like, but I would tell you that I want you to have her report as frequently as you can make it happen till we get her in somewhere.
Will you tell Ms. Wilburn not to have excuses? Because last time she tried to say she didn't have a ride and all that and hocus pocus, and she showed up, but
no, we can't do that. I mean, it's either report or, you know, get a violation on you.
I understand.
You got to make it happen.
And I did. I made it happen.
Yeah, I know, but don't bitch about it and cry about it. Just do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Judge.
You know, because it's, you know, every time she calls and tells you to come in, she has to hear 30 minutes of nonsense. Then that's not, you know, that's cutting into time. She ought to be doing something else. Okay.
Okay. Thank
She
you, Judge.
says, come, you go. All right. What time do you want to see her tomorrow?
9 o'clock's fine.
All right. By 9 o'clock in the morning. And then how are we gonna get her back into how are we gonna communicate with her? Because
That's we would need a phone number for sure.
My
you-
mom's,
Huh? What is
my
it?
mom's phone. It's 270-590-9806.
Okay. I'll give that to Bethany and
Okay.
she'll have to, I guess, do the assessment by phone
Okay.
and
I've got
And
Zoom.
Greg,
My mom's got Zoom if we want to do Zoom too.
oh, okay.
I guess if you could have Bethany include me on the emails as far as the, you know, the treatment's concerned.
Oh, yeah.
And then I guess do we need to put it on for a court date in a couple of weeks just to see, make sure it doesn't fall through the cracks?
yeah, probably. What I was hoping is that since she's going to be reporting to Officer Ford as often as they can make that work, you know, Officer Ford will start getting suspicious if we get 2 or 3 weeks into this and she hadn't heard anything.
Yeah, the last time her bed was ready in 7 days.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm thinking. Once she's put in her 30-day wait, she ought to get into bed within a week or so. So I'm thinking she's about 20 some days into that 30-day wait. So, you know, I'm thinking within a couple of weeks, we ought to be knowing something. And Mr. Berry, I guess whatever you do, copy Officer Ford on it, because by definition, Ms. Wilburn Officer Ford has to have a way to get in touch with her. So if she finds out about a bed date and she can't get in touch with her, then we got a whole nother problem.
Okay.
All right. So if you find out a bed date, you tell Officer Ford, she'll get the word to Miss Wilburn.
Okay.
All right. All right. So I believe we are all on the same page. Does anybody have any questions about that?
No, Judge.
See, you go see your probation officer at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Just say order to follow. What, Bonnie, how we looking?
Looking good. I've got got two more. I got Megan Ballard and Brittany Decker.
Oh, the Brooklyn Decker. Oh, Brittany Decker. I didn't write anything on it. All right, let's see Miss Decker.
Judge, I totally forgot to check with Jason, but I see he's on now.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Oh, okay.
well, what were you gonna ask him?
Well, I mean, I'm trying to pull up the motion from yesterday, or that I
You may
filed.
email it to you.
I've got it. I'm just trying to pull it up. Judge, honestly, after all these cases, I can't remember what it was I was going to ask him. I know it was for clarification.
No, yeah, Jason and I could explain it to you, if you like. When you went,
Don't put my name in it. No,
I'm sorry.
no. Don't mention my name about it because
Okay, I'm sorry. When you let me out on probation, you did so you can monitor my restitution payments. A little after I got out, maybe a week, I took it upon myself to try to find a rehab because I've never been to treatment of any kind, and I felt like it's something I needed. So I looked up the first one I found online and went to it is Renest, and I was under the impression they would let you have your kids there or at least talk to your kids. And I called Jason and told him when I got there, and he told me they would transport my probation up there to E-Town. And then a couple days later, I called him back and told him that I was going to try to find a different one, that it wasn't really working. I was a little bit emotional on the phone. I'm sure I probably wasn't able to explain it very well, Jason. I'm sorry, but it's because of my children. I found a place at Haven that would let me come up there and
Yeah. Hold the phone for just hold the phone for a second, okay? I think the whole point, Jason, and I was kind of like Mr. Richardson. I know we talked about he was going to try to talk to you, and I kind of I kind of lost the thread of what we were needing to ask you. But I think at the end of the day, the question was, in her judgment, it did not say that she was going to treatment, which is not unusual, for that to not say that. But her position yesterday was that she wasn't ordered by you as a probation condition to go to treatment. She went to treatment and then called, and you told her it was fine, she could stay there. And then when she left, she doesn't feel like that constitutes a violation of a probation condition because she didn't have a condition of going to treatment. And we were wondering how you remembered it, because I did not independently remember ever ordering her to go to treatment. You see what I'm saying?
yes.
Judge, the question I was going to ask, now I remember, was, Jason, did you order her to go to treatment? Like, was that part of her conditions that you had set?
Well, we talked about it. She, right off the get-go, I've got this great treatment place lined up. So I said, okay, since you haven't lined up, we'll give you a shot. I sent a transfer. Then I called Renest first and talked to them, and they told me she didn't even try to give it a shot. And the reason I didn't even have time to find her or anything, because every time I've had her, she's of course test positive, but I can't do anything with her. I mean, I've tried, and it's impossible. She does not follow any directive. She absconds when it doesn't go her way. And I just don't know how successful I can be with her. I'll try as hard as I can, but she's not following one directive I've ever given her.
I will say that the history of her being on pretrial diversion in this case would appear to strongly support what you have said up to now. And I don't think she would even fight that assessment, because she was on pretrial diversion for a little while, but it was just kind of one thing after another and kind of out in the wind some, and various other things. And that's why her pretrial diversion got voided in the first place. Like I said, we ended up having a sentencing hearing, and probably because it was, not something that had been previously negotiated as part of a plea, there wasn't really anything said about sending her to treatment. I feel like the situation is, when you go on to probation, it kind of, for lack of a better way to put it, it's a recognition that you got to give somebody a chance for probation. So, I understand that she's had a lot of problems on pretrial diversion, and the whole idea with probation is that, that's you lose your right to have the pretrial diversion, and if you get probation, you get the chance to be on probation. It's not a real good start, but I mean, I do appreciate it if you're trying to go to treatment, take care of your business. And I appreciate it if you want to spend time with your kids, because I think anybody that's you can't be a grown up if you have kids and don't care about them or spend time with them. So I'm not going to fault you for that. But I mean, there's got to be better. I can't blame anything. And I'm not faulting Officer Alexander on any of this at all. I mean, this is not his fault. But I can't really fault him for being frustrated with you, because I mean, you said you were going to Elizabethtown, and then before he could even send anything up there, you were gone and like the wind, and I mean, you are on probation, and you can't just do whatever you want to do.
Judge,
I take full responsibility. I do.
Judge, she's had a chance to talk. Can I talk real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
In the judgment, it does say that she's to comply with regulations of Division of Probation and the directions of the probation officer. So I believe there is a legitimate issue here that I'd like to get his testimony on the record, because I'm kind of in the same boat with Mr. Alexander, with her, from the very get-go, she's never been compliant on anything, and I don't believe she's going to be compliant in the future. So I would be asking for a revocation. I don't know if you've made a decision yet or not, but if we need to have it on the record, I'd like to get on the record. But if you don't think it'll work.
No, you filed the motion, and you're entitled to put your proof on. So if Officer Alexander is ready, I will swear him in, and we'll put it on, and we'll see what happens.
Okay. All right.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm that your testimony will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
All right, go ahead, please, Mr. Richardson.
State your name for the record.
Jason Alexander.
And you're with probation and parole out of Glasgow.
Yes, sir, I am.
And were you monitoring a Brittany Decker as part of her probation?
Yes, I was.
Did you file a violation report dated March 29th of 2021?
Yes, I did.
What was the basis of the violation?
The basis of the violation was when she first got out of jail, she had told me, she said, I've never had a chance at rehabilitation. I've got this rehab in Elizabethtown that I've lined up. And I said, well, I usually do the lining up with our social service clinician, but since you've already got this and you want to go to this program, we'll give it a shot. So I proceed to do a transfer up there, and before I can even get it, sent up there, or I did get it sent up there, and I had to tell them to reject it. But I called Renest, and they said she left the recovery center on March the 28th. I told her, I spoke with her, and I told her, you're not to leave the recovery center without permission. I said, you're not even giving this a shot. You're not trying. You say you've never had rehab, and this is a shot because they've had success with it in Elizabethtown. I've spoke to some officers up there, and they've had some success with it, but you're not even giving it a shot. You're just wanting to do it what's convenient for you. And I said, they run the program, not you. And so give it a shot. And then I get a call the next morning, she's saying she's packed her stuff up and left. And that's the frustrating part, is I told her not to leave without giving it a shot, and she goes off and does what she wants to do. And that's why I'm not frustrated, but I was just disappointed that, I told her not to leave there and she did it anyways. It's like she doesn't want to listen to anybody. And then she comes to court crying to everybody that she's not had a chance and she's not done this and that. And, you know, and that's the reason that I'm disappointed, because she's always comes to court when she's in trouble saying, you know, poor me. And I didn't, you know, and like I said, you know, that's all I got.
Okay, we pass the witness, Judge.
Is this Mr. Spears?
Yes.
All right, go ahead.
Officer Alexander, was this treatment and your approval of this treatment formally placed into her conditions of probation?
Yeah, her conditions follow any, you know, any directive I give her.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
All right. Anything else, Mr. Richardson, of this witness?
Nothing else, Judge.
Very good. Any additional proof?
No, sir, that's it.
All right. Mr. Spears, anything that you want to put on as far as proof?
Your Honor, it appears that Ms. Decker wants to testify, so I'll call her.
Okay. Ms. Decker, raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that your testimony will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes, I do.
All right. Go ahead, please.
Okay, when I left,
Ms. Decker, let me ask you questions.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead. I was talking to your lawyer.
sorry.
Sorry.
Ms. Decker, why did you leave the treatment center?
It was because I was under the impression that they let you keep your kids there or at least see your children. And when my child come to visit me the next day and my dad and all them, so I already lined up a place at another rehab that did let me take them. So I left with the impression that I was going to call Jason as soon as I got to the new one and let him know.
All right, Ms. Decker, did Officer Alexander tell you to stay there?
Yes.
Okay. But you said you have another place lined up.
Yes, I told him I was working on another one.
All right. Are you fully committed to sticking this one out?
Absolutely.
All right. No further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Richardson, do you want to ask any questions?
I don't have any questions, Judge.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Spears, do you want to make an argument?
Your Honor, I'm of the mindset that I think instead of revoking her probation, Ms. Decker should be given a sanction and be allowed to go to rehab. I'm of also the mindset that I think this needs to be arranged by either probation and parole or Bethany and not Ms. Decker herself. I think she'd be more apt to complete this, and she'll understand that she has to complete. I think she'll understand that she has to complete this for her probation. So I would ask in lieu of revocation that she be given a sanction of credit time served and have either the SSC or Bethany evaluate her. And I mean, in that evaluation, it may work out to where the treatment center she's been looking at is the one she goes to. But I would ask that this be done through either SSC or ASW.
I understand. Mr. Richardson.
Judge, I understand that, when people get their diversions revoked and they're given probation, there's obviously different standards. You got to still look at the graduated sanctions, see if they're appropriate and whatnot. The thing that's different about Ms. Decker's case is she's given us plenty to work with from the multiple chances that she's been given between, not just from the court, but also from the Commonwealth in the form of sanctions, the multiple chances she's been given on when she was on pretrial diversion. I mean, I'm sitting here looking back and I'm looking at, October 2019, August 2020, February 2021, all revocation hearings we held on a diversion. And now she goes and tells Officer Alexander, oh, I got this place I can go to, orders her to stay there, and then she don't even stay there. So I don't know, honestly, I don't know what the point anymore is, whether it's Bethany or probation and parole or whoever it is, gives her any of these opportunities to go to treatment because she never completes them. She never does anything the court asks her to do. And I'm not knocking her, she's obviously got some issues here, but I'm going to keep with the argument I made when I asked the court to not put her on probation. I understand the court's desire to keep her on probation, to keep her monitored. I guess the perspective I'm coming from is we've got other people we can help that actually want to be helped. And, you know, as you've said before, part of it's not just the treatment, it's also whether or not the defendant actually wants to do something. I mean, it takes a defendant to actually fix themselves, not just the treatment. That's just the helping hand. And she's, you know, spat on every helping hand that she's been given. And again, it's not a knock on her, but at some point, you know, you've tried everything. And I believe truly that we've tried every single thing possible to help her. At some point, there's going to have to be a point to revoke her probation. And I believe, based on her prior history, that there's enough here to do that. I'd ask you to do that.
Understood. Mr. Spears.
That's all. I mean, that's all I had, Your Honor. It's my
Oh,
previous
yeah,
argument.
I forgot. You already argued. Yeah. Yeah, listen. All right. Here's the deal. And again, I'm not faulting any. Obviously, Officer Alexander's been trying to deal with you throughout this process, and there have been additional felony charges in another county, additional misdemeanor charges in another county, non-compliance left and right. You know, Mr. Richardson is completely right about all that, and Jason is too. For better or, for good or ill, right or wrong, whatever the case may be, we had your final sentencing, and I granted your request for probation. All right. I granted it knowing that you had not done what you were supposed to do on pretrial diversion multiple occasions. And I granted it because I wanted you to, listen, it doesn't matter. The fact is I granted it, right? So, you get to be treated like anybody else that's on probation. And if I believe that there was some question in your mind about whether or not, I know that you've acknowledged, and Jason said that he told you had to stay there. And I believe that you knew you were supposed to stay there because that was the desire of your probation officer to do. It's not just you doing whatever the heck you want to do at this point. All right. However, he didn't order you to go, or order's not the right word. He didn't tell you to go. He just said he was willing to cooperate, which he did not have to do. And he was willing to transfer your probation and do the paperwork and all that, which he did not have to do. So, he said he wasn't really frustrated. I find that hard to believe because I'm frustrated and I don't have to see you all the time like he does. So, I'm frustrated with your history in this case up to now. Mr. Richardson is completely right. You've done enough that I could revoke your probation, and I don't blame him one bit for asking for it. But I'm going to take all the questions out of whether or not you have to go do treatment, because I'm going to tell your attorney to have his social worker try to find you a place, and then you're going to be ordered to go there. And if you don't go, then it's going to mean what Mr. Richardson was saying is true, which is that you don't want to do what you have to do to put this thing to bed. All right.
Right.
And I'm not fooled because you cried. I'm not fooled by all of that. I'm obligated to be fair to you because I put you on probation, and, I'm obligated to be fair and give you a fair shot at it, even though you had way more chances than anybody really has coming to them on pretrial diversion. What happened then, and I don't blame, like I said, Jason or Mike or any of them for being frustrated with it, because I agree. But I owe it to you to be fair on probation. And if you want to try to go to treatment, I owe it to you to give you that chance. I just need you to understand that, this is not going to be something that we piddle around with. We're going to get you somewhere, and you're going to go, and you're either going to finish it or not. And that'll determine how we go forward.
Yes, sir.
All right.
I'm ready. I know I've messed up a lot in the past. I'm ready. I've been ready.
I understand. Well, but you need to put your money where your mouth is, because if it was just everybody saying they were ready, we wouldn't have a 15% success rate or whatever the heck it is. It doesn't fix itself. You know what I mean? It's, you can't, here, what I'm saying is you've got to put your mind in the right place and get up there and do it. And if you don't do it, then, that's just going to be on you. Okay.
All right.
All right. In the meantime, Josh, you all just let me know, but I'm gonna keep her in custody till I get your plan. But what I am planning is a, residential treatment facility, not one of these short, 2-week kind of deals or whatever.
Okay. I'm emailing Bethany right now.
All right.
I'm not sure how it works. I don't know the difference between a sober living home and a rehab and all that, but there is one in Bowling Green called the Freedom House that they've already accepted me.
I know. I'm getting your attorney's office who has somebody that specializes in this alternative sentencing type of stuff. I'm getting her to find a place that would be appropriate. She's trained to do that and I trust her. And it's going to be part of a court order and then there ain't going to be any question what we expect. All right.
Do you know, are they going to come to assess me then?
Yeah. I don't know if she'll come down there or call you, but either way, we do it all the time and they, it happens all the time. So they know what they're doing. All right.
All right. Well, thank you.
All right. Bonnie,
Yeah, Judge.
who's it? Who's left?
Megan Ballard.
Megan Ballard. I don't really know what's happening here because I don't have her on my docket.
Same here, Judge.
All right, hold the phone. I think Jen is going to explain it to me in ways that even I can understand. Yes. 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 Okay. When was that order done? Oh, yeah. So does she have a fugitive warrant case in there, an F case, a 21F something? Yes, pull the rug out.
They took the whole off. I don't even know why I'm still here.
Hey, Judge,
Yes.
Right here.
I think this is my case. And I'm seeing
Yeah.
that there's an order that you had entered about her going to treatment.
Yeah. All right. Here's what happened.
Yeah, this is,
Yeah. I entered an
Mine-
order for her to go to treatment. She didn't get to go because there was some kind of Tennessee warrant that popped up. I told them at the jail that they needed to, if they were going to, hold her on the basis of that warrant, it needed to go through the extradition process. And apparently they filed a case in district court and then it got dismissed. So she should be ready to go back to treatment because there's no, the fact that you get a fax from Tennessee saying we have a warrant is not how warrants get served on people from out of state. It goes through the extradition process and they did go through that. And then and I don't know anything about it other than on CourtNet, it shows that the judge dismissed it right first part of this month. So
Okay.
she should be able to go to treatment. I don't remember who set her up to go to treatment. But
Mike, I think this is actually my case because I think
Yeah,
that
yeah.
we agreed that she would go into drug court and Candy assessed her and said she needs residential treatment. And
so Candy set her up to go to treatment.
yeah, Candy set her up for the treatment.
The only potential problem that I see then is that when Candy goes back in to do that again, she is still going to apparently show an active warrant from Tennessee, even though it's not going to be a warrant that the jail's going to hold her on because that, they don't, it hadn't been served on her and it's out of
So I need
state.
to communicate that with Candy or.
Well, I'm just saying, I foresee that this could be a problem when Candy goes, because a lot of her facilities are affiliated with the state. And if they see that out of state warrant, it might be a problem. So what I think we ought to do is put Candy on it again and maybe put Miss Ballard on for Monday morning just to see if that has presented a problem. And if it is, we'll have to maybe call a timeout and get back in the huddle. You know what I mean?
Yes, Judge.
Yeah.
Now, do you want me to contact Candy or you gonna contact him or?
I think I can get
There,
Crystal to
take
do
care.
it.
Okay.
She's a pro. Yeah. She's actually got 3 different cases, so we'll put them all 3 on. But she was supposed to be on today originally. Then when we got the bed date and I entered the order, the clerk took it off, which is what they should have done because, you know, we thought she was going to be in treatment. I didn't even really find out until a couple of like a day later that they had this Tennessee warrant, which I think is valid and there is a warrant. But I just, when they called me about it, I said, listen, that's not how you do warrants. I mean, they've got to file it and go through the, interstate compact on extraditions or whatever it's called. And I mean, I did enough of those in district court to know, I just forgot what they call it. And apparently they filed it and it went to court and it got dismissed. So there's not anything holding it.
Judge, I've got an order here from Tennessee stating that they're releasing the hold so she can't go to rehab.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess that's why they dismissed it downstairs then. Yeah. All right. So we're going to get her another bed date or we're going to try. And I tell you, is that an email, Bonnie? Can you email that to me?
I can.
All right. And I'll get that to Candy.
Okay, Judge.
And we'll put you on Monday, Miss Ballard. And the only, I can't think of, we may not see you if we go ahead and get a bed date for you.
Okay.
Or if the planet gets hit by an asteroid. Other than those 2 things, I'll probably see you. Okay.
All right, thank you.
All right. Anybody got anything else?
That's all I've got, Judge.
All right. Thank you, Bonnie.
Thanks, Judge.
Are we not doing Brooke Pierce today?
No, we saw her yesterday and I think set her for 2 weeks.
Okay, I was just checking. I didn't know that was that's what the deal was. Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Good deal. Anybody else got something while we're all